Hello, my name is Gloria Gerd. I am the mother of makeup art, and welcome to my program, Artist Highlights. I am here with B. Scott, and she does storybooks, and I'm going to let her tell you about her storybooks.
Thank you, Gloria. Okay, I am a retired elementary school teacher, taught kindergarten, first grade, lower grades, and retired. After I retired, online I saw someone say, there's a company called Heritage Makers, and their motto is, every story deserves a book of its own.
I like that.
So I went online and pulled it up to see what they were talking about. They said, write your story in a storybook. What's a storybook? It's not a thick book, it's just 21 pages if it's a hardback book, plus it's pictures. So I said, well, I can do that. And then, so I pulled up the website and I signed up for a free studio where you work and do your storybook. You know, you slide your pictures in and you type up the words. And it took me a little while to figure out how to do it and everything. But once I figured it out, it's easy. So I did a storybook. And I said, well, what should I write about? So I thought about all the family members. We have our family reunion, so we have these charts with pictures and some of the writing about them. And we've done some brochures and stuff here about the family members. And Fred and Nanny Chambers are our elders. They've been gone a while. They had 14 children.
Wow.
And my grandfather was their first son. And so I knew his sisters and brothers, and they've gone on through the years. So I said, well, let me write about the elders in my life. And so this is the first book I did.
This is your first book?
Elders in my life. And I designed it because online you can just pull up and you can decide how you want it to look. And so that's my mother on the front.
Oh. She's
from Richmond, Virginia, but she went to Harlem and too soon. She was in high school. She hadn't finished. She should have finished. But anyway. So, and then she had 3 children. I was her 3rd child, 2 sons and me. And so I wrote about the elders in my life. My mother's here, and then here's her grandparents, Fred and Nanny. It's so wonderful to have a record of family.
Isn't it wonderful?
This picture formed a record. They had 14 children, and these children were in Richmond, Brooklyn, Philadelphia, Newport News, where they lived, a variety of places. And that's where, in visiting family, I'd visit Aunt Hallie here, and then Aunt Hallie in Baltimore before I moved to Baltimore. I was in New York, then in Richmond, and then in Brooklyn. So anyhow, I did this book. It's only 21 pages with pictures.
With pictures.
And of course, I knew everything. I had no problem of what to write because it was about my family.
It was about
and I wrote about the things that I remembered. And so I started with Fred and Nanny, told about them and their children, and their son, now Fred and Nanny had gone before I was born. But anyhow, I knew this picture. We all had this picture, which is wonderful. They took this picture on their 50th wedding anniversary.
Oh.
So, but their son was my pop, and he looked just like his father, Walter. And I took this picture of him in Richmond. And Pop was a wonderful guy, so I wrote about him here. And I learned different techniques. I made them fade into the background. It was fun, all this digital stuff. So I talked about Aunt Gerd, my mother.
I have a question to ask you about digital. You older, and
Yes,
was it frightening to do all this digital things?
Well,
that's what scared me a little bit about doing this.
But the beautiful thing is that before I retired from teaching, you know, and we'd write our lesson plans out by hand and everything. And over the years, finally, some of the younger teachers said, Miss Scott, why don't you get online and do your lesson plan online? So I finally did that, and I said, oh, wow, this is easy. You know, I just press a button, and I got the next day, and I'll work on that, you know. So, and then I messed around with it. Also, my minor at Hampton, I went to Hampton Institute.
My husband went there.
Oh, is that right?
Yes!
Oh, wonderful. So, major elementary ed, minor was art. and I always enjoyed photography and etc. So, and then I taught 1 year in Japan, and I kind of got turned on with digital cameras. I had a Nikon. I didn't have a Nikon. I had a Pentax camera. So I enjoyed photography, and so these things kind of came together. So anyhow, when I got my book, it was like, wow.
That is beautiful. That's what I'm saying.
In 2 weeks, I got my book back, and I said, oh, here's my yard in Baltimore. And Aunt Gert loved gardening, so I have some pictures of her yard. When I got my book back, I read it like I'd never seen it before.
It is wonderful.
And so people would say, wow, you know, they want to buy my book. I said, well, write your own book. These storybooks are for your own.
Yes.
And so then I realized it is an issue of helping people to write their books of every age. The young people, they need to be exposed to the fact that they can have a storybook.
Yes.
So in Ashburton, we got grants so that the kids can write their storybooks. Here is Jamira. She did her storybook. And a number of them. There's Jamira again. Those are some elders up there with Annette Saunders and the grandfamilies. These are grandparents who are raising children. So we got grants for them to do storybooks. And you know who helped them with the digital part? Of course, because everybody knows their story, don't you?
Yes.
And we all got those pictures on the chiffrobe, and I don't know what they call them nowadays. Yeah. But anyway, you got your pictures. And Morgan State University students, digital, helped them to input their stories so that they can order their books. So we've had just a number of projects. Now this lady, Betty Wells Brinkley, here's her wedding picture. She is a part of the East Baltimore Historic Library group, and so I helped them to do their storybooks, and they got help from different college students, etc. So yeah, it's a process. So everybody has a story. I love this picture.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love the whole concept of this, because it promotes reading, it promotes learning about your family history.
Absolutely.
It promotes love of family. That's so important, and it's a project that you can do with your children.
Absolutely.
And your grandchildren. And get everybody in grandparents, get everybody involved in it. And I think that's so important. Be tell them how they can get in contact with you, because I think people need to do this.
Okay, I call myself the Storybook Project, and we're doing a number of different projects. BEA Scott #3 at msn.com is my email address. And wrap it up now? No. Oh, okay, I didn't know. Let me just mention, books can be about everything. Now, you know what this one is about? Guess what?
Ashburton community?
Yeah, that's my neighborhood.
Yes.
So, I mean, you know, we just wrote a storybook about our neighborhood, some of the things that we're doing in our neighborhood. But storybooks are about everything. The night that Obama was elected, we had some folks over the house, etc. I didn't bring it. I have an Obama book. The night Obama was elected, and I called it Night of Obama in Baltimore.
I would love to see that book.
Yes. But storybooks are wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful.
I think they're wonderful. And B, I think you're wonderful to bring this project to our city. Personally, I think it's something that needs to be around the country and around the world.
Absolutely.
I really do.
Absolutely.
I really do.
Self-love, self-beauty.
Self-love and self-beauty.
Absolutely.
And just the family love. I mean, we need, as black people, okay,
Absolutely.
everybody, but as black people, we need to know our history.
Absolutely. History? But of course. But of course.
And that's so wonderful. I'm so glad that you came to my show and I could interview you. And thank you so much, Ames. I wish you lots of love.
Thank you, darling. We've been friends a long time.
We've been friends a long time.
Right.
And guess what? I'm going to do a book.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. All right.
Good. Okay. I hope you enjoy Artist Highlights, and I shall see you next time. Goodbye.